Are we live? Are we live? And we are live. I'm back again with the Rapidus 800XL. Made a couple of stupid mistakes in the previous video, so to be fair, I'm going to describe what they were. I mean, dropped a damn screw washer. It's gone. So in the previous video, there were two problems that I was left with. Were that the machine wouldn't work with the Side 2 cartridge, and I was unable to use the update flasher, the firmware update flasher from the Atari website. That appeared not to run. It exited with an error 184. Since rectified both of those problems. The first problem, which I'll demonstrate, if we can get the Atari video feed, if this is going to work. There we go. Okay, so here we are in I'm going to restart that. I'll just restart Restream Chat. Apparently Restream Chat now can run in a browser. Okay, so the mistake I made, because I didn't read the manual properly yesterday, was that the update flasher, we've still got this stuff mounted on drive 1. Let's plug the SIO cable in before we do anything else. Okay, so I'll run through the steps again of the firmware update on the Rapidus now that I know how to do it properly. It states in the manual that you first need to put the device into Sweet 16 mode, and Rapidus mode will work just as well. And when you sit down and think about it, that makes sense, because the flashing tool needs to access the 65816 hardware. So the fact I was trying to run it in 6502 mode explains why it didn't work. So the first step was RCLR, which we'll now see works correctly. And the next step is RCF F054, and this will update the core, the FPGA core on the Rapidus, and as you can see, it's working very nicely. And it's done. And the next step is to update the Dracos operating system. So we say flash OS Dracos ROM. And that automatically reboots the machine. And finally we update the configuration menu with rflash-module.rom. which all happens very quickly. So with that done, we can press the reverse video key and reset, and we are in the Rapidus configuration menu in Rapidus mode. Should have been in Sweet 16 mode, but not to worry. So this all works. This part of the system all works. Now the second thing I did wrong when I was testing the side cartridge was, I'll actually reboot the machine, turn it off, put the cartridge in. Since the Rapidus core loader is effectively a PBI device, it appears as a parallel bus new device to the operating system. It has to have a PBI bus ID, device ID, and that device ID is fixed at 0. And when I updated the BIOS on the Ultimate 1 megabyte, although I had originally, when the stock BIOS was on the board, on the Ultimate 1 megabyte board, I had set the PBI ID at 7 to keep it out of the way of the Rapidus. When I updated the BIOS, it reverted to 0, and I forgot to change it again. So we had a clash. So that explained to a large extent why the cartridge wasn't recognized by the system. So we will go back and go into the Ultimate menu so I can show you what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about this here, PBI device ID. Now that was set to 0, so confusion ensued. So once I changed that to 2 and reboot the machine, and bearing in mind we're still in Rapidus mode here, so this is 20 megahertz, things work quite well, and we can even access the C drive because there's a partition on this compact flash card. And have we got, yeah, we've got read write test, so we'll do a read write test on here and we'll see how fast the thing works. Choose the default drive, you idiot. I mean, I try not to feel too bad about these stupid mistakes because once things start to go wrong, you just start to lose heart. And as I said earlier on today, the thing was crashing so quickly there just wasn't time to read the manual. So, you know, these things happen. So as you can see, we're getting nice quick I/O speeds. Now we should really check to make sure that this still works in classic mode as well. Are those little dots meant to be there on that logo? I hope so. Actually, we've got a little bit of character generator corruption here, so yeah, let's not get carried away with the idea that this works properly. So let's go to classic mode, save and exit, and we're back to 1.7 megahertz, Sparta-DOS-X, directory of the drive 1, which is mounted on respect. We'll switch to the C drive and we'll get a directory of that, and we'll do a read write test just to prove that we are at normal CPU speed, the kind of thing we'd expect, around about 60 kilobytes a second or thereabouts. And we'll check that we can get into the loader. Come on, come on. There we go, and we'll try and run the demo. We'll run Boogie Nights. Have I got this on mute? Can I get some sound? Can I get some sound on here? Is it that one? Mix down to mono. I don't think you can hear that music. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I should probably mute that in case something's going wrong. I can't hear it. I've got the sound plugged in. So as you can see, this works anyway. So let's hop into the Rapidus BIOS menu, which has now got rid of the strange little corruption and dots on the screen. Go to Rapidus mode, we'll exit, save and exit. It's kind of expected. And we'll go back into the loader, so we're now running at, are we running at 20 megahertz? I can't even remember. It should be. Yes, we are. So back into there, back into the loader, and find something that runs. Yump runs at 20 megahertz, I think. I'll have to look into the sound here, because if I enable the sound on this input device, I've got no idea what it's going to sound like to you. Might be too loud. I can't monitor it at the moment. So that kind of works. Let's go back to the loader again. What else can we try? What else can we try? Let's try some good old Pac-Man Terrace. Ooh, I/O error. So I tried to mount an ATR here and it doesn't work. That's not good. Okay, let's verify that this is a Rapidus related issue. So let's go back to classic mode. Let's try the same thing again. See if we can mount these ATRs, and we can't. Let's go back into here and let's turn off Rapidus altogether, which is bizarrely done by enabling device 2. Reboot. Reboot. Loader again. I/O error. I mean, this could be a buggy loader for all I know. Could be a buggy loader. Nevertheless, let's check. Unhook the Rapidus. This adapter in the back's going to have to be lashed down somehow, because it's just not going to survive the journey home. Otherwise, right, back again. Let's try that again. Into the loader. Can we mount an ATR? We can. So, latest issue is that in classic or Rapidus mode, so that's 1.7 megahertz mode or 20 megahertz mode, the loader can't mount an ATR for whatever reason, I have no idea. And then when I unplug the Rapidus completely, deactivating it isn't enough. Unplug the thing completely, then it appears to work. So that's a little bit puzzling. I actually took the external select mod off this machine because it seemed to make it worse, but I'm at a loss as to whether I should put it back or not. So I wonder why this is. I wonder why this is. And the other problem that I noticed with this machine is that despite the fact I've got this heatsink on it, which appeared to cure the unwanted reboot on system reset a certain length of time after the machine had been powered on, I did leave it on for about an hour earlier on this evening, and when I came back and pressed system reset, it rebooted again. So let's re-enable. Oh no, let's not. Let's try the loader again. So this is with the Rapidus disabled via software. Disabled via software, now it works. Right, okay. So let's enable it again. Never a dull moment with this thing. Save that. Go to the right, reboot. Should load the core. Loading the core. And we are in what mode are we in now? Classic mode, yeah. Alright then. So in classic mode, let's go back here. Let's go to the loader again. Let's see if we can mount an ATR. Well, it's still mounted. So what happens if I run it? Start. Loading part 1. Insert side 2, so I press the button on the side cartridge, press enter, loading part 2. So this is in classic mode with the Rapidus enabled. Okay, so that works. So let's go into Rapidus mode. Now somebody told me that once you've been in Rapidus mode, until you power the machine off, the 6502 is never used again. So that might explain the difference. So if you come out of Rapidus mode, that's where the problems begin. So, okay, no problem, that's fine. Back into the loader. We should be at 20 megahertz now. We're clearly at 20 megahertz because of the speed of the thing. Let's just try a couple of things. How fast the search is. That seems agreeably quick. So let's try this again. Can I unmount everything? Let's unmount that, go back into here and control and and now you work. Now you work. So it just works when it feels like it. Alright, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. Because let's not forget, this isn't my machine. So it's good enough for me. Okay. Let's boot that See if this will boot at 20 megahertz. Press the start key. Look at that. Look at the speed of it. And it works. So it does work. Alright, that's good. So can we... let's try something. Let's reboot. So we're at 20 megahertz. Can we run UFlash? Because this is supposed to work. And it does flash very quickly. UFlash XEX. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that? Oh, because I've got a mounted ATR, haven't I? Of course. So we'll unmount the ATR on drive 2. Yeah, we'll unmount them. Unmount. And then we will reboot the machine. Try again. Drive 2. Just going to work. Because it is fairly impressive watching the flashing at 20 megahertz. It's pretty good. Should we try and update the loader? Dare we try this? Because if this breaks, I could seriously brick this board. I don't want to get the programmer out, but it is. Yeah. Alright, then we'll try it. Let's try it. Reading the file. Oh, it worked. It worked. So we've just flashed part of the Ultimate 1 megabyte BIOS at 20 megahertz and it appeared to work. So let's check it. Let's go into the BIOS again. Let's run the loader again. And it worked. Good. So what else can we try? Let's try and boot Newman. Demo. Just loading it at 20 megahertz off the compact flash card. And kind of working. Kind of working, but not completely working. So that's probably an acceleration issue. That's probably not by design, but it's one of those things. Let's try something else. Or VBXE, we won't be able to see that because it's VBXE demo. So it's going to work. So remember, this is a 20 megahertz 65 C816 processor. Looks like it's going to work. Can I skip this? Yeah, it's working. It looks good. It's not working so well. That reminds me, we can try something else. Let's see if this Uno cart works yet. I'll turn that off. Power the machine off. Pull this cartridge. Christ, that's tight. Put the Uno cart in. Let's see if this works. Not present. That's not looking too good. Disabled. Boot. Why have I got XEX OS on the end? For fuck's sake. Save. Right. Reboot. You don't want to work. What about the ultimate card? Have I got an adapter for a micro SD card? Oh, there's one. An adapter. So let's see if you work. Should be fun. So Uno cart not work. Ultimate cart work. That's good. So this is 20 megahertz, 65 C860. Let's try my GUI. My GUI is looking good. Let's get a mouse. I'm gonna run the mouse. Gonna get a mouse. Yeah, where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Come on, mouse. Where are you? Where's my mouse? Oh, where? Is it in this huge box? Of course it is. Or I could use a trackpad. Trackball. Let's use a trackball. Let's use this. Let's see if this works. And it works. It works. Upside down. No, not upside down. Now I'm upside down. Right. Let's get the trackball the right way around. So this is my left mouse button here. Yeah. So how do I? Oh yeah. Ah. That doesn't look too good. I think this is an old version of the GUI which ran all the strange dots on the screen. It's gonna crash. Yeah, I think this is an old version of the GUI which ran all the graphics code out of ROM, and the ROM isn't accelerated, so you tend not to see much of an improvement with this one. Okay, so that was interesting. So on the whole, this isn't actually looking too bad. So let's get rid of this cartridge. Let's reboot. Let's see if we've got spontaneous reboots again yet. Because this heatsink here here's our crazy heatsink. This actually gets pretty hot, which I suppose is a good thing because it's doing its job. I still think it's ludicrous to put a heatsink on a CPU, a 6502 CPU on a normal machine, but this does get uncomfortably hot after a while, and that's around about the time that the problem starts again with reset. So let's see if we are there yet. Let's turn on Spartados, let's turn on the hard disk, why don't we? I'm in the wrong mode. I want to be in classic mode. But ultimately this may not be that much of an issue. It depends on how, that's probably how OCD you are about stuff working or not. Let's press reset. At the moment it still works. And it's rebooted again. So you see, this kind of thing really irritates me. It's just because it's not right, but unfortunately I'm pretty much out of ideas now. This is after we've put pull-up resistors on A0 to A7. You might ask why I don't put them on the rest of the address lines, but the rest of the address lines aren't arranged as neighbours with the convenient 5-volt pin next to them, so I'm not going to start running 3.3k resistors all over the bottom of the CPU. The external select mod actually removed from this machine because after I updated the firmware, the Rapidus firmware, it seemed to be worse with the external select mod present. Since removing it, I've seen no change in behavior whatsoever. We've swapped 74LS08, which isn't a big deal. This is the only CPU, this NCR CPU is the only one that I've managed to get to work in this machine with the Rapidus board. But we get this spontaneous reboot thing in classic mode. Do we get the same thing in... Do we get the same thing with the accelerated disabled in software? Let's have a look. So that turns off Rapidus, reboot the machine. Press reset. And we've got a reboot now. We've got a reboot here with the Rapidus completely disabled in software. So something's going on with the address bus that I'm not quite sure about. So that is the one lingering problem with this machine. It's annoying. That's annoying. I know. I mean, this kind of lies in the hands of the CPLD firmware. I think. I don't think it's something you can necessarily tackle with caps and resistors and stuff, because we've tried to do that. So, I'm a little bit nervous about putting the screws back in this machine. It's finished, but it's finished, but it's not finished. So yeah, it's a bit troubling. But yeah, I did make a couple of mistakes. So the mistake one was not changing the PBI ID of for the side cartridge for the PBI BIOS, and the other mistake was not reading the manual for the flashing software. So that works. The loader seems to work, and a lot of stuff does seem to work. And I don't think the reboot issue is present in Rapidus mode when it's running at 20 megahertz. I've never observed it in that mode. So yeah, because I did say I was going to show some VBXE stuff, but let's see. Oh, and the other problem with this keyboard, this computer, is that the keyboard's knackered. This is I used to have a keyboard like this in the collection, and it's got a kind of a plastic casing on the top, and it's the most like 1200 XL keyboard of any of the 800 XL keyboards, I would say. And it's got little springs that fan out towards the bottom and drop in these little holes here. But the problem with this keyboard, which I just noticed when we got so far through this build, is that it sticks, the control key sticks here. It was stuck and it wouldn't return. And when I removed it, I discovered that the original spring had been lost and a shorter spring had been stuck in the hole, and so I swapped the spring from the brake key, figuring that that was a lesser used key, and I would put the kludgy spring from the control key and the brake key and swap them around. But then this pylon's got other issues because it still sticks even with the original spring in it. And I used to have some of these springs, but I think I threw them away when I tidied this place up at Christmas. So unless anybody has spare springs for this kind of keyboard is made by, who's it made by? There's a guide to these keyboards on the Atari Age forum, so I suppose that would tell me what I want to know. But they are nice keyboards, they really are. But this one is broken. So CO61983 is the part number, and it has little letter R's on the back. Little letter R's on the back. So I don't know who made this. Is it high tech or I don't know. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about this keyboard. So at the moment I've got a spare keyboard in the top of the case. So let's plug in. I'll just have to try and show you as best I can. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Run the loader. Demos. Old Skool VBXE. And it will start, but we won't get the display. And we want to press Shift. And then it will start, and then we have to hop over to the other. So I'll put camera 2 on, and I'll rotate this, and then I'll change the input on the monitor, and we should be able to see what is going on. So I'll get a bit closer in there so you can have a look at the quality, assuming it's going to focus. So there you have it, VBXE. So at least we know that works. I've completely messed this camera up now. There we go. So yeah, there you have it anyway. I'm pretty much out of ideas about these last few problems. I was never able to rectify the reset problem with the previous machines I've tried this board in, but as you can see, pretty much everything else works. So hopefully this will prove satisfactory, or some other ideas will come up in the next few days. But it's sort of half working, let's say. So yeah, I just wanted to check in and point out that those mistakes that were made in the previous video, just so that we know that the firmware upgrade does work and the side cartridge does work on this machine. But despite the various stabilization modifications that have been made with pull-up resistors and external select modifications and heat sinks and all kinds of steps that have been taken to try and combat this weird issue of the operating system restarting itself, we still haven't got anywhere with that, really. So that pretty much brings this to an end. We've just got to stick the badge on this machine and put the screws back into it, and probably hang on to it for a few days and have a little think about it and sleep on a few of the problems. But hopefully it's been of some interest, and if you want to put a Rapidus on your Atari, hopefully it's forewarned you of some of the little issues that you might run into and some of the big issues you might run into. So with that, I will say goodbye and see you in the next video.